Based on your analysis of student learning evidence, establish what has been learned and by whom.
Most students are able to recognize and write the letter O. Students have practiced letter sounds using zoophonics, so that is able to help them when they see the letter, they're able to do the hand motion in order to learn the letter. It kind of sticks in their brain a little bit better. That way we make it something fun with the animal, and then it correlates to the letter.
What has not been learned and by whom?
The students that have come into my classroom, I have about 4 that don't know any letters, uppercase or lowercase. They don't know any letter sounds. Still don't know them, even though we practice it that day. If I have tried bringing them later on in the day and having them practice and showing them the letter, they're able to tell me the letter, but because we learned it that day. If I were to show them the letter from the day before, they still don't. It's not enough time for their brain to process that letter.
And who needs additional support to meet the standard?
My students who don't know any letters or sounds are going to be doing a lot of intervention with my instructional aid to play catch up to the students that do already know their letters and sounds. It is important for them to come into kindergarten knowing their letters and sounds, but obviously that's not the case with every student. So we have to be able to teach them the correct letter sounds and be able to write uppercase and lowercase letters in a way that we're able to recognize them. They're going to need to continue to practice and repeat letters and sounds using flashcards and other resources that we have available at our school.
What have you learned about our students' learning characteristics that you did not realize previously?
With my students, I need to break down every single learning process. If I don't break down each process, then it's a little bit more difficult for them to understand what I'm teaching, whether it's language arts, math, science, social studies. I need to do a step and then stop, do a step and then stop. Because if I don't break down each step more so, it's a little bit more difficult because I have a lot of students that were not in school previously before this. No preschool, no daycare. I have a lot of students that have just come in from home.
Formulate how effective your instructional design was based on your planning and teaching as evidenced by data collected on student process and products of learning.
After going over letters, students were able to recognize easier letters and sounds. They can recognize beginning letter sounds also. So if given the word, when telling them a word, using, for instance, the word mop, they know that they can go ah, p, and mop. And they know that that word starts with the letter M. We are able to use our program ESGI to assess to see what's letters, sounds, numbers, shapes, colors that students are able to know in order to move on to the next lesson.
Moving forward, how will you plan differently based on your knowledge of student learning characteristics, both previously known and newly discovered?
Once we get into learning and practicing one letter each week, I believe this amount of time will give the students more time to practice and perfect each letter. Practicing the same letter every day, using them in new words and writing sentences can help the students gain better understanding of the letters being used. So once we break down, for the first 4 weeks of school, we're doing a letter. First 3 weeks of school, we're introducing a letter each day. So going from there, then we have the certain amount of letters that they need to know before end of first trimester, and then another set before end of second trimester, and a third set before the end of the school year. And that way we are able to give them a letter each week, and they're able to practice what they are learning.
Which additional differentiation strategies and multi-tiered levels of support will you consider?
Intervention support with my instructional aid really helps the students. Being able to be one-on-one with an adult lets them be more comfortable and more susceptible to learning. They are able to do fun games. They're able to use different resources in order for them to learn what we are practicing as a whole group, and they're a little bit more comfortable as to asking questions when they're one-on-one with my aide or myself, and it helps them learn whether it's letters, numbers, sounds a little bit easier.
How will you modify, extend, or incorporate new levels of presentation, expression, and engagement for each learner's group as it relates to their processes and products of learning?
We constantly find new learning games for Center Time, and Center Time is our universal access where we take the time and we split the students up into reading groups. So based on their reading level and where they're at academically, we split them up into groups, and there's 4 different groups. We have a higher low, between, then we have on level, and then we have our highest level. So we're able to split them up into those groups and figure out different games that are going to help them. We always find new worksheets, and then as whole group, we try to find new engaging videos that they're able to participate in. It helps them have fun while learning at the same time. So, thank you.
You're welcome.